To Burkett. We missed on Wednesday, so we do these every generally Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I was not here because just a lot going on in the office as far as growth is concerned. So we missed that. So we're going to go through the Q&A today. So there were a bunch of questions that came in for the week, and we're going to go through instead of doing the story time. We're going to go through the Q&A. So as we get kind of rolling here, hopefully most of you guys have been keeping an eye on the market. Still, the flipping season is here, meaning that come next month, right, February 15th or so, you got to start looking at putting your flips on the market. Hopefully your flips are ready. I just talked with a bunch of people that are from Mastery. They're hoping to kind of turn their flips around and have them back on the market. So this is something we're actually making a few videos today. Best time to sell a flip is end of February, basically February 20th on all the way through February, March, April. So if you're going to overprice a flip, that's the time you can probably price it a little bit higher than you generally would, because that's when you have a lot of buyers that are coming out of the woodworks that have been sitting home during winter. So the other part of it is that we're obviously in the depth of winter, where it's cold outside. It's not been the best week in terms of temperatures, and that's where a lot of lenders will make deals. So I submitted 4 deals, and out of that, I think 3 of them we're probably going to be able to get. So if you're not looking for properties right now is the time to look. So please make sure you are on top of it. And I know the market is rather in some of the markets, like C markets, C minus markets right now. Some of the properties are sitting. So if you're doing flips in the C minus market, please make sure your properties are priced correctly as soon as February comes around, because that's the time to get them sold, even if they're sitting right now because of winter. But on the other hand, a lot of banks are making deals, right? So that's kind of the exciting part about it, is that banks are, obviously, they want to dump the inventory that they have sitting on the market. So having said that, so the first question that came in was, how can I purchase my next investment property? Currently, I have 2 units that I bought, and I have equity of about $200,000 to $250,000 in equity. What options do I have in terms of loans? So number one, you have to look at, okay, do you have debt on the property? So let's say you bought the property. I don't know if you paid free and clear for it, and you have equity in it, or if you have, if you have a loan on it, let's say 200, and the property is worth, say 450, then you have a delta there, which is you have equity of 200, 250,000. So I'm not 100% sure. So it's going to depend in terms of tapping into the equity to do more deals. It will depend on what the situation is. You haven't given me enough to work with, but here's what I would do. So this was a similar situation that somebody from Mastery had. And this is fairly similar to yours. So I'll kind of explain it because I know their numbers a little bit more. So they had a debt on the property for $100,000. Right, and the property is worth about 460 or so. So they had an interest rate on that for about a 3.5 or something like that, like some sort of interest rate, right? And so they're like, Andrew, if we basically pay off that loan and we put higher debt on it, then we will have that excess cash. We can basically cash out close to about 200,000 extra, and we can use it to buy more properties, to scale up, so on and so forth. So my point to them was, I'm like, listen, instead of going and putting debt on the property, as in 30-year debt or whatever the case may be, even if it's a 25-year amortization, what you may want to do is, rather than putting a regular loan, why don't you go and open a credit line against it, right? They're like, well, how is that beneficial? I'm like, listen, so part of the credit line you can use whenever you need to, right? Part of the credit line you don't have to use. But when you do want to buy a property, now you can use the credit line, which is at 7.5%, 8%. What I think 7.125, something like that, right? You can use it. Other times when you're not using it, great. You're not spending any money. So it's not like you have money burning a hole in your pocket. When you find the right deals, then you use that money. So you don't have to go do anything, but when you want to, you will have that credit line available. So they ended up basically going to a commercial bank, right? And Joe actually opened a credit line for them. So the way it works is you have a couple different options. Either one, you refinance and just put a regular 30-year debt on it, right? Or you can refinance and basically get a little bit lower interest rate, and you can go to a portfolio lender. So we had Joe Kirking here. You can go to his bank, and they will do a loan for you, which is going to be a amortized loan over a 25-year period. Commercial loan, regular commercial loan will be over a 30-year period. So that's option one. Option two is you can go to a portfolio lender. They will give you better rate than a regular commercial lender. A portfolio lender will give you a better rate, but their amortization is going to be a 25-year AM, right? And it's going to be a 5-year balloon. So that's just how they do it. And then you can re-up that loan, right? Or what you can do is what the person from Mastery did, which I think is a much smarter move. That they had, the property was worth about 440, 450, something like that, appraised for. They only had 100,000 debt on that property because they've owned it a few years. They've paid down the debt. They've taken the rents, cash flow, and they've paid down the debts. And now they're like, well, we have good equity. The property's gone up quite a bit. So what should we be doing? So that's why I suggested them go get as big a credit line against the property as possible, and then only use the line that you need. He's like, well, I really only need $30,000, $40,000 line right now, and I don't need anything else. So I'm like, okay, go just open the line whenever you have a property you want to buy. Now you can pull from the line. Whenever you don't need it, you pay back to the line, and then you don't owe any interest. So if you have, say, 70,000 out, even though the line may be 350, you're only using 70,000, so you're only paying interest on that amount of money, which is the smartest move in my personal opinion. Now, the other choice you also have, third choice you have is you can go, depending on if this property is in your personal name, right? If it's in a personal name, then you can go and do a rental loan, basically on a residential property, and then refinance the property. You can do that, but the rate still is going to be kind of high because the rates right now are high. But if you don't have use of the money, then you'll be servicing that debt for no reason. So that's something that you have to think about. The next question was, what if I get multiple leads in my marketing? How do I wholesale some of the contracts that I don't want? So if you have contracts that you don't want, but they're good properties in your opinion, please send it to us. We're happy to send it to people from Mastery, right? We're more than happy. Info at National... I'll get you guys the email now. Right now I'm having a blank. I know it's info at National RE Invest, I believe, but I'll get you guys the email as to what exactly the email is supposed to be. But you can send it to us. You can bring it to us during the RIA meetings. You can bring it to the 3-day. We're happy to send it to everybody that is from Mastery. If they want to buy it, fantastic. You just got a wholesale deal done, but if the property makes sense, I'll buy it. Right? I'm buying another property where I'm paying the wholesaler. I think it's about $28,000 on that wholesale. I believe it's $27,000 some change. So, I mean, we're happy to buy the properties. The numbers make sense. We're happy to buy it. We'll be happy to send it to people from Mastery, so you don't have to let go of that wholesale deals, right? And there are different people in different areas. Some people will do flips in certain areas. Some people will do rental in the area. This particular property I'm buying for $126,000, right? Something right around there. So basically, the wholesaler is going to walk away with a chunk of change, right? He's going to probably, when it's all said and done, including closing costs, everything, probably he'll walk away with $26,000 in his pocket, which is a phenomenal deal. And this is deal number 3 for this particular wholesaler. So even the first 2 deals I bought, right? So it kind of works for him. It works for me. So all day long. Or somebody from Mastery buys it. That's fine also. You'll still get a wholesale out of it. And just email us on the main email, and we will send it to you. Question number 3 was, the other day, you discussed about the property. So the other day we were talking about a property that's a multi-unit property and happens to be in Gilwood. And this person's question is, well, why did they decide to keep the property, and why are they not why are they not flipping the property? If I was them, I would flip the property. So this is going to depend. I mean, that property makes, like, literally, right? What was it? I think 28,000, 29,000 a year. It just in cash flow. And the person will have zero money in the deal, right? In fact, they can walk away with money at the closing table on a refinance. So for you, like the person who sent the question in, if it's better for you just to flip it or just to wholesale it, then do that. No problem, right? But for this particular couple that has that property, it doesn't make sense because I know their personal circumstance. So yes, is it nice to make 120,000 bucks? Absolutely, right? They can actually make even more. But in their particular scenario, as nice as it would be, they want to build a portfolio. Hence, they are not going to sell the property. So this is just in that particular case, it just doesn't make sense for them to sell it. So the next question was, when I'm doing marketing and I'm just starting out, what is the cheapest method for me to get started with wholesales or with basically just finding off-market deals? So to me, the cheapest method or one of the cheaper methods is going to be if you go and get in your car and identify areas that are C areas and just drive the areas, which is you're basically looking for properties that have overgrown grass, that have deferred maintenance, that have problems going on, and just go to those properties, right? That's one thing. So, and you can increase your odds, right? Rather than just going and driving around for vacant houses and figuring out that, oh, nobody has plowed the snow or there's no footsteps, so it's probably vacant. That's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. But if I were you, what I would do is I would take like 4 zip codes. I would start with maybe 2 or 3, and I would get 4 zip codes at least until you have a total of about, say, 200 leads, right? 200 to 300 leads, depending on how many leads you want to work with. But 200 number will work or 300 number will work. In that, what I would do is I would arrange the leads. If you're basically, let's say, going after people that are pre-foreclosures, right? So I would consider hot leads to be the ones that are on 2 lists, maybe pre-foreclosure list, maybe absentee-owned list, right? That's 2 markers where you have a high amount of motivation. But the reason I'm only telling you just take 5 towns or 5 suburbs, or if you're in the city, you got to go by zip code, right, in the city. Because that's how it works. It's easier to segregate the list, to basically kind of separate the list by zip code. So if I was in the city, I would start with 1 zip code. I would look at how many leads I'm getting. Then I would take that zip code, and then I would basically add more zip codes if I don't have enough leads. So the way we do it is that we will take the entire amount of pre-foreclosures. We cross-match it to other high motivation lists. If the name shows up on both the lists, then we put it on a separate list, and then we do the marketing behind it, right? Meaning reaching out to people. So we reach out to people a couple different ways. We don't do driving for dollars. Driving for dollars works. It works 100%. It's one of the cheapest ways you can reach out to people. Another way is that you basically call people. If you're good at scrubbing your list and getting it down to a list. So I can take a list of, say, about 19, 20,000 people and get it down to about 1,000 or so people, right? Now, of the 1,000 or so people, then we feed it into like a Go High Level type of system. You don't need a Go High Level. So please don't go out, spend money on Go High Level. It's just a CRM management system where you click a button, boom, it'll make a phone call, right? And now you're talking to the seller, right? That's the whole advantage of it. And Go High Level is not for people who are doing 4 deals a year, right? That's going to be for somebody who's doing a bunch of deals, or you have a system that interfaces with it, right? So that's how we do it, which is we're going to reach out to people that have possible amount of distress, that probably are highly motivated, but we have to cull the list down from about 90,000 down to about 1,000 or so, and then reaching out to them. Why? Because the phone contact, besides getting the leads and skip tracing them, there's no other cost associated with it, right? So it's pretty much effort is all that is needed to go about that route. Those are the two cheapest ways of getting properties, right? Because gone are the days where you could put bandit signs in most places. Most places, if you go put a bandit sign, these towns, municipalities, villages, suburbs, whatever you want to call it, they're going to rip it out, right? And also, you're going to lease. They work, right? Signs work like no tomorrow, but you just have to be careful where you're putting them. Otherwise, the cops will take it, and the city may even fine you if you're doing within a town's limits, one of the suburbs limits, that sort of thing. So the question for this person is, what's the cheapest? Cheapest to me is going to be driving for dollars or making phone calls, right? Making phone calls, sending texts. Those three methods are probably going to be your cheapest methods of how to find properties. Like if you become good at MLS properties, right, then you don't even have to do anything except become good at identifying properties on the MLS. You don't have to spend a dime to do that, right? You can learn that method of prospecting. I mean, for years and years and years, I did all the wholesales that I ever did, even to people in Mastery, outside, whatever it is, all of them. I used to do it purely on deals that I found in the MLS, and that still exists if you learn how to find those deals. If you don't know how to find them, go to 3-Day and we'll show you exactly what to do step by step. So the next method would be what's the next method? Now, there's a lot of people, mind you, that are doing cold calling today, right? People from out of town, people from other countries, they're cold calling all the major markets in Chicago, in the country, right? The way you distinguish yourself, separate yourself, is you have to have a way of narrowing that list down. Because if you just start calling people at random, you're going to get frustrated and your results are not going to be good, right? We generally look at higher equities, right? And then we look at another distress factor whenever we are going after the people via phone calls or texting. Mass texting is not allowed, right? Mass texting is no longer allowed. But can you do it one by one? You can, as long as you're not soliciting any sort of a business, as long as they're not on a do not call list. Like, you're not trying to sell them anything. You're in fact trying to buy a property from them, right? So, but make sure if you start doing mass texting that you look at the FTC rules, because they are very strict and their civil penalties are fairly high. So don't just start texting people out of the blue. But make sure that they have a very high amount of motivation. Now, can you call them all day long, right? You can call them, you can use a VA, you can call them yourself. You can say, okay, I'm going to take this many leads, 1,000 leads, and I'm going to call 30 of them every day. Now, if you call 30 dials, right, that's just the dials, meaning you click the thing, boom, the phone is ringing. And at that point, if nobody picks up, it doesn't even count, right? So if they do, then the question becomes are they motivated in terms of selling the properties? First is gathering the list. Second is marrying it up with another list, right? And it may be probates. It may be properties that are going to auction. It may be properties that are, that are behind on their taxes, right? So you can create those different lists and cross-match them. If there are two factors, then go after those. So that's something that I would highly encourage. The next way of doing it is, which I tend to like, and that is mailings, right? Mailings is overall one of the cheaper ways to go after properties. Now, just please understand, the way I started with mailings was my budget was $700. Then I increased to $1,000 the next month. The month after that, $1,200. Then I went to $1,500. Then I went to $2,000, right? Then we went to $2,400. So, but when you do mailings, just because you do a mailing today, you're probably not going to see a result this week. A lot of these tend to run on a 45 to 60 day behind schedule, right? Because it's rare that somebody gets a mail today and then immediately they're going to call you. But this is just for me. For me, mailings have been one of the highest yielding type of returns on the money, right? I mean, at least 100 folds of money that I've spent. Now, I have to admit to you that even though a lot of these have worked out very, very well, do we do mailings religiously? No, even we don't do them. I was doing them religiously. Then there were just too many properties I bought, and I couldn't handle the headache because of all the other stuff that I have to do. So I had enough properties for me to buy. But at least 40 to 50 times, right, times the results on all the properties. So mailing works very well. I know it's old school, but it works, especially with this demographic of sellers that we are talking about. So I would not set a budget that is big. I would basically take, so this person said, well, I have a $4,000 total budget. So then the way I would do it, and if you're going to do this, I would basically put a budget for about 7-8 months. So you take the $4,000, divide it by 7 months or 6 months, and then figure out, okay, how many pieces of mail can I get out in that, right? So if you have, let's just say, let's just hypothetically say you have $5,000 to spend, right? That's your budget. And because if you don't get any deals in that, you're just going to basically not be able to do business, right? That you can't grow that way. So what that means is that if I figured out, okay, how much is that divided by 0.8? So that gives you a lot of mail pieces that you can do, because if each mail piece costs, let's say, 85 cents, or let's just even make it $1. For $5,000, you can do basically a good chunk of mail. So the way I would do it is I would say, okay, these are the 5 areas that I'm going to target, 5 zip codes or 5 suburbs, whatever it is. And I would start with a smaller list. I would rather see people do $200 in mailings every single month, because month 2, 3 is when you're going to see the result. And then you may buy a couple properties, and then again, it's dead for a while. You're not getting as many leads. That's just how it is with mailings. But a lot of times you'll notice, not only do we do mail 1, then next month we mail them again, then next month mail them again, and then add to the list of the people that are on your list as you start having successes. So I'm not talking about PPC on wholesales, because that can get extremely expensive per month. I'm not talking about what do you call it? Oh my God, I lost my train of, I'm not talking about any sort of a billboard advertising. I'm not talking about any sort of radio, TV, all those kind of things, because they are very, very expensive and they're cost prohibitive for most investors. And you have a lot of money that ends up going out that way. So I would not suggest that. So cheapest method is get in your car and drive. The next thing is either you do text or phone calls to potential people that have 2 or more motivational markers in their profile, right? So they show up on 2 different lists. Then on the merge, you'll realize, okay, which ones are double? Okay, where is it coming from? Where is this coming from? And boom, right? That's the people I would call, because it's for calling, you need somebody that does it religiously, and then you need somebody that will do good follow-up, because that is really where the money is not in just basically making one phone call, but it's in the follow-up. So just something important to think about, to pay attention to. All the other methods I feel are going to be too expensive, especially if you're starting out. So I don't think you should go to those methods. Okay, the next question was, how soon before you guys start an eviction? So the way we do that, at least I should say, Rahul manages that side of the business, right? And the deal is that if people don't pay your rent on time, immediately on the 5th day, you got to serve them with termination notice, right? Don't play games with them. If they know you're strict, they will behave much better, right? And this is important. So if they basically are just not going to move, I would basically try to see if you can do a cash for keys, right? Something like that is what I would offer. So just something to keep at the back of your mind. Okay, the next thing was, what is, and this is a question that's come up a lot, and that is, what is the best list? Guys, listen, I wish I could tell you what is the best list, right? I just told you what we do. We do some mailings, and then we do some calling. And I'm saying some because that's the truth. We don't do it as consistently as we should, because I don't quite have the staff for that. We're gearing up on a bunch of other parts of the business, and I had too many rehabs going on because of the amount of properties I suddenly bought. So then it's like you buy all these properties, now nothing is being done with them. So now all the money is tied up there, or a lot of the money is tied up there. So hence I let it go, right? We dropped the thing. But the 2 things we are going to go back to is the mailings, because I feel it's so lucrative. And then the second part of it is the the cold calling, because that has been very, very, very lucrative for us. So just something to pay attention to for you guys. If you have any other questions, please keep sending them to us, and we will, from our end, keep trying to answer them. And hopefully you guys get some value out of these workshops that we do. 2024 is off to a good start because we have new closings coming up. There's a bunch of people from Mastery that are buying properties, a bunch, right? So all of that has been going well. We are prepping for the next 3 day. So the next 3 day is exactly 30 days from now, exactly 30 days, right? And the VIP admissions have already started flying out. So make sure if you're going to go as a VIP, number one, register. Go to National RE Invest. Sorry, it's Andrew Holmes in AndrewHolmesEvents.com. That's again AndrewHolmesEvents.com is the website. You can go there, register. If you're bringing a friend, just let Lori know when you start getting the emails when you register, and then just let Lori know, hey, I want a BOGO ticket, buy one, get one free ticket for my friend, and she will send it to you. Now, if you're coming as a VIP, because lunch is included, you're networking with everybody that is going to be a speaker there, everybody who's going to be on the panel there, that is included. So because we have lunch at that time, if you're coming as a VIP, you're going to have to pay a little bit for, if you bring a spouse, if you bring a friend, you're going to have to pay that. But if you're coming as a regular attendee and you want just a free ticket, a BOGO ticket, we will provide that for you. But please let us know ASAP. So don't wait till the last second, because especially the VIP tickets, they always run out. And then people are like, well, I wanted to be able to network with everybody. I wanted to be able to speak to all the speakers. Then they don't get to do that. So having said that, super thrilled. Hopefully you have a good weekend. Tomorrow morning, we have Mastery. This weekend, it is all about rehabbing. So it's on time, on budget rehabbing. Todd is doing that class. He's here from Florida. So he's doing that class tomorrow morning. So we'll talk to you soon. And we will talk to you on Monday. This is Ann for today.